Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to The Joy of Video with Josh Ross. First, let's talk about how to turn on the camera. So to do that, you're not going to press this little red button. Oh no, that's the record button. You see, these cameras, they like to be a little tricky. This little white button right here, that's our friend. You're going to hold down on that and turn to the on position. When you do so, you'll see the little screen come on, and you'll also see a little red light come on. Now, let's talk about SD cards. You see this little yellow box? That's where all the cards for our class will be. You want to make sure to put it back whenever you're finished. Well, at least after you put your footage into your computer, that is. Next, you're going to open up this little latch on the back of the camera. You see there's two places where you can put a card. You're going to take your little SD card here. He's our little friend. And you're going to pick it up, and you're going to make for sure that nothing is wrong with the card. You never want to force a card into the camera because you don't want to be paying for a $2,000 camera. Put the card in facing up and just gently push in like so. Like I said before, never force in a card. You should hear it click when you push the card inside of the slot. Then just close the latch on the back of the camera. Be really careful. Okay, so now boys and girls, we're going to talk about recording. You see at the top of the camera, there's a articulating screen that looks just like this. You always want to be real careful and make for sure you put it back when you're finished recording. You would hate to drop the camera or to leave that open and have somebody break it. Now to record, you're just going to hit your little red button on the side. When you do that, you'll see on the screen there will be a little red dot showing you that you're recording. So it's time for lights, camera, action. Whenever you're finished recording your shot, just hit the little red button once more. Now here's a really cool feature about our cameras. You see this little switch on the back has a picture of a video camera on the top and a picture of a play button at the bottom. If you switch that little switch, you'll see your screen will show you the clips that you've recorded. Our screens are touchscreen, so when you touch one, you can stop and play through the scenes that you've recorded. Then when you're finished and you want to go back to recording mode, you can just switch that little guy back to the camera, and you're ready to record again. Oh yeah, that's really cool right there. Smile, you're on candid camera. Now, just in case you're interested, there are a couple other things about this camera that you can use, like an auto iris, which makes it brighter or darker, and an autofocus, which allows the camera just to do all the focusing for you. But if you need help with this, just let me know. Okay, now we need to talk about something really important, and that's batteries. These are a little hard to get used to at first, but if you just take a look at the battery, it should become pretty easy. You put the battery in by sliding it in and then pushing down. Once that happens, you should hear a little click. To take the battery out, you just need to push this little button right here. Push that in, hold it down, and at the same time push up on the battery. And that should come right out for you. Whenever your battery is low, make sure that you put it on the charger for the next group of students that are coming into the room. You always want to be courteous to the next group. To put it on the charger, just look and see where the pins line up. Then you push it in and slide it forward. When that happens, you'll see a green light come on the charger, letting you know that the battery is charging. And that's all there is to it, my friends. Pretty easy, right? Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, we want to talk about the tripod and the dolly for just a second because this is really important. The dolly is the little thing with 3 wheels. Whenever you put in a tripod inside of a dolly, you want to make sure the foot of the tripod is nice and tightly secured within the dolly. Make sure you screw that in real tight so that your tripod doesn't fall over while you're filming. Next, make for sure all of the little latches on all of the legs of the tripod are also secured nice and tight. If they're not, you run the risk of your camera falling down, and you don't want that to happen. Some of these cameras are actually $2,000 or $3,000 each. Now, before you put your camera on the tripod, you always want to look at the bottom and make for sure the mounting plate is nice and secured on the bottom of the camera. It should be screwed on, but you always want to double check that that plate is not moving around. Make sure it's nice and tight. Then, you can take your camera and proceed to put it on top of your tripod. You want to make sure that you back out this little piece of metal here that sticks out. That's to lock it in place. Your camera won't be able to slide into those rails unless you make for sure that that is backed out all the way. Then, you want to push and hold this little metal button right here. You'll see this pin goes up and down, allowing the camera plate to slide into place. Now, you can take your camera, while you hold down that button, make for sure that those rails are going to line up the way they should, and then you can slide the camera plate and your camera right into the tripod. You should be able to push it all the way forward without it being able to move out from the front or from the back. You see how I'm doing right here? Once you put it in the middle, go to the other side and tighten down that little metal piece so that your camera doesn't move around. And now your camera is nice and locked in and ready to go. Like I said before, always double check all of these little knobs and everything that I'm showing you so that your camera doesn't fall out and you're having to pay $1,000 or $3,000. These cameras can be little boogers sometimes, so you and your team always want to be looking out for anything that could go wrong. Last but not least, we're going to talk about sound and microphones. These little shotgun mics are the mics we use for our class to connect to our cameras. You can see at the bottom here there's a little twisty knob. You can slide that right into the top. It's really easy. Once that's in place, you want to make for sure that you tighten the knob all the way down so that the mic doesn't fall out of place. Next, you're going to take this little connector right here. He's our little friend. You want to make sure that you line up all those little pins correctly so that you don't break anything. You see how those 3 little pins line up? You're going to plug that right into where it says input number 1. You should see a little arrow at the top as well. When you push that in place, you'll hear a little click sound, and you'll know that it's all nice and secure. Well, I tell you what, technology sure can be a little devil sometimes. At the top of the camera, you'll find a place for all your inputs. Just make sure that they're either turned on to on or mic. Next, on the side of your camera, you'll see 2 little volume knobs for each of those inputs. Usually if we use a microphone, we're only using 1 input at a time. But I always like to keep my volume at about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way. I hope you enjoyed this camera class. If you have any questions, just let me know. I know technology can be a little devil sometimes.